Hello and welcome back to Gindy's videos. We may also post this at Random Thoughts and Observations. It's random-thoughts-observations.blogspot.com. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Cuz. And Cuz was a gentleman that he may have actually been kin to me, I don't know, but he was an older gentleman. His real name was Fred Rainey. And he was a customer of ours at the store, and he came in quite often. Well, one day he came in and he asked, did we have a copy machine? And I told him we didn't. And back in those days, this is the early 1980s, back in those days, most businesses did not have a copy machine. They had no reason for having a copy machine at a retail store back then. The only place in town that had a copy machine was the Ivy drugstore. Well, I asked Fred, well, what is it you want to copy? And he took out this piece of paper that had been folded up many times, was well worn, and he told me, this is my diet. And I said, well, Cuz, you don't look fat. As a matter of fact, you're kind of slim. And he said, well, no, it's not a diet to get slim, although that's part of it. And he told me about how back in the 1950s, he went down to the VA hospital, and I believe it was the one in Columbia, South Carolina, but I'm not positive about that. But he went down to the VA hospital for some tests. He wasn't feeling good. And he saw quite a few different doctors, and they all looked him over, and they did whatever tests were available back then. And they told him to come back, on a particular day. And he came down that day, and they ushered him into a large office that was just filled with all the doctors that he had seen before. And he thought this was kind of unusual for all these doctors to take time to, go over his test results. Well, what it was, the head doctor told him, Fred, and as Fred said it, the doctor said, Fred, you eat up with cancer. And Cuz said, eat up with cancer? Well, what does that mean? And the doctor says, you're going to die. Fred says, well, how long do I have? 6 months, 6 years, or what? The doctor says, no, you're going to die very soon. As a matter of fact, you probably won't make it home. A week, maybe 2 at the most. That's it. And Fred's like really taken aback. And so he gets to thinking on the way home, I can beat this thing. And he figured that prayer would help, but he said, I can beat this thing. And one of the answers he got in his prayers was that he needed to go to the Anderson County Library. So I went to the Anderson County Library and started doing research on cures for cancer. And the doctors had given him no hope whatsoever of any kind of cure for cancer, or even to die comfortably. So Fred looked and looked, and he stumbled across something called a macrobiotic diet. Now, a macrobiotic diet is made up primarily of grains, but it's fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and grain products. And one of the key things in this macrobiotic diet is chewing. You don't just chew something like you normally chew. Most of us chew way too little anyway. But you don't just chew the way you normally chew. You chew it and chew it and chew it till it's pulverized, and then you chew it some more. And ultimately, of course, you get to swallow it, but you chew and chew and chew. Anyway, so Fred said, well, I'll try this. Got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Well, Fred decided that he'd try it. He got home, he started the diet, and he was very diligent with the diet. He didn't eat anything that he wasn't supposed to. Now, on this diet, you're not supposed to eat any meats, no processed foods, no sugars, no processed sugars, so no pizza or processed pasta sauce or anything like that. It's primarily vegetables, primarily raw vegetables and whole grains. And he got on this diet, and he started getting better. And he went down for a checkup, and the doctor's like, you're still alive? And Fred's like, yeah. And Fred was able to actually beat the cancer. As a matter of fact, they certified him as being cancer-free. And now this happened in the 50s, and Fred's standing there in the 1980s, and he's a very elderly person at this time, possibly in his 80s, I don't really remember, but possibly in his 80s. He's telling me that he outlived every single doctor in that room. So if you're having health difficulties, you may, or even if you're not, you might want to try looking into the macrobiotic diets, eating what's on the diet list, the fruits, the vegetables, the whole grains, chewing very well, avoiding the meats as much as possible. I'm not telling you cut out all meats or whatever, but avoid meats as much as possible. Avoid the processed sugars as much as possible, and chew very good. If you have any questions or comments, please drop us an email at Gindy's Videos. That's GINDYSVIDEOS at gmail.com, guineasvideos@gmail.com, and let us hear from you. If you want, you can look down in the post down below, and there should be a link down there. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you next time. This is a Federal Trade Commission required notice. When you click on an advertisement that is displayed with this video, or just before it, we receive a small commission. Sometimes, if you merely watch an ad, we receive commission. If you purchase anything by clicking on links on any of our websites, we receive a commission as well. McClendon Studios is a participant in the Amazon Services LLC Associates Program, an affiliate advertising program designed to provide a means for sites to earn advertising fees by advertising and linking to Amazon.